Hello everybody, my name is Reetika and I'm from Queen Mary's Research Impact team. I'm going to talk to you about some work that I've been doing around PhD supervisor support for research impact training and planning. So the REDS conference kindly organized for us to hear from Embryl Publishing as a pre-conference seminar about the research impact agenda. So for those of you who did attend that, this work fits quite nicely with some of the work that they've been doing. So just a little bit about the research impact agenda, which is now a vital part of the research landscape. Researchers are encouraged to generate the knowledge that society needs and turn this knowledge into public benefit. However, training and support is generally focused on ECRs, established researchers, so ECRs, early career researchers, established researchers, so independent researchers, or impact case study authors preparing things for the REF, the Research Excellence Framework. So generally, we have found that PhD students are left behind. However, they are our future research leaders, so we do need to be thinking about them. And that's where my idea for this work came from. And I really wanted to know whether PhD supervisors are encouraging their students to engage in impact activities, whether this differs by discipline, what motivates PhD students to access impact support, and are there any barriers to their carrying out their impact plans, and if so, what are these barriers? So based on those questions, I had to think about what my hypotheses were, and thought that PhD supervisors who were more impact aware or involved with REF preparations are more encouraging of impact activities, particularly supervisors in the medical and physical sciences, where impact can be more tangible in the form of a patient benefit or new products or services, making it out into the market. In terms of motivators, supervisor encouragement was quite high up there. Impact awareness, so whether that's student or supervisor, student interest in carrying out impact activities and getting involved with things beyond their basic research. And then in terms of barriers, almost the opposite of that. So a lack of supervisor support, a lack of impact awareness, either student or supervisor, and a lack of time, because impact is not really a sort of requirement, if you like, of completing a PhD. So we started this piece of work back in February this year with an interactive poll at our annual PhD Cohort Year 2 Day, which is focused on impact. So this runs every year with Cohort, so Year 2 PhD students. We had about 51 students engage with our survey in February. Then I did a 6-month post-Cohort Day follow-up, and that was in August. Had about 21 responses to our survey, and then did 10 interviews based on the questionnaire, and then hope to carry out a follow-up 12 months post the Cohort Day, so back in February 2021, and do some interviews based on the questionnaire. So just to give you an overview of engagement with the work that we were doing, I've broken it down by faculty. So at Queen Mary, we have 3 faculties. One is Humanities and Social Sciences. One is Science and Engineering, which covers life and physical sciences and engineering. And the Medical and Dental School, which covers medical sciences, dentistry, and oral health. And as you can see from the 3 pie charts, generally engagement from Humanities and Social Sciences tends to be quite low, whereas within the life and physical sciences, engineering, medical sciences, dentistry, we tend to have better engagement just with this exercise. So when we looked at the data that we collected from our Cohort Day back in February, we looked at what made students want to attend the Impact Day, the day focused on impact training, and found that actually none of our students, quite sadly, were sent on this training or recommended this training by their supervisor. So supervisory support was unfortunately quite low. But the main driver over here was skills points, which is a scheme run at Queen Mary, through which students collect skills points over the course of their 3-year or 4-year PhDs and get awarded a certificate for skills gained. And I think that so that the skills points aligns with the VTI framework of researcher development. And then we also asked how impact is discussed in their particular faculty. And encouragingly, we found that in most cases, across medicine and dentistry and science and engineering, it was discussed for everyone and thankfully not just for ref purposes, which is down here. But worryingly, not at all, did come up quite highly as well, particularly in humanities and social sciences, which is quite sad, really, and that's something that we hope to change over time. So then looking at the 6-month follow-up on supervisory support for impact plans, this is based on the 10 interviews that I did, found that there was about a 50-50 split between people who did feel supported by their supervisors for their impact planning and people who didn't. And I've just put some quotes over there to give you an idea of what people told me when they were talking to me about their supervisory support. So the bit in grey is people who said they didn't feel supported by their supervisor, and the bit in blue was by people who did feel supported. Surprisingly, this supervisor who did not support their student with impact planning is involved in ref preparations. I'm going to leave that on there for maybe 30 seconds for you to have a look at what people said, and just be quiet while you do that. So for me, I think the key take-home messages in the no bit is this bit over here. My main job is to extract and deal with the data, so we don't even have these conversations. And that to me is the worrying bit, is that these conversations are simply not happening. But then equally on the positive side, the main bit for me was adapted my project more, so it was more to my interest. So this is a student who has an interest in impact activities, and their supervisor has been supportive enough to adapt their project and work with them to include that planning into their PhD project. So then we thought about motivators, and again, I'm going to leave that on there for for maybe a minute for you to have a read through. So again, for me, the take-home messages over here are around things like the future and job applications, skills outside of academia, commercializing research, those sorts of things, which are not generally part of necessarily a PhD, but are good reasons for doing impact work. And then thinking a little bit about barriers, I'm going to, again, be quiet for 30 seconds and give you a chance to read those. And again, for me here, the take-home messages are around an understanding of where are good places to showcase work, what kind of impact activities are relevant to the kind of work that the student is doing. Time is another one. So as I said right at the start, impact is not really built into PhDs at this point in time. And then from a supervisor's perspective, particularly, a lack of understanding of what is okay and not okay as part of the program, and equally supporting a student who might be interested in stuff that is beyond their program, and finding space and time to do that sort of work. So in terms of next steps, as I said, I am looking and hoping to do a follow-up questionnaire 12 months post our initial cohort day, which is in February 2021, and do some interviews based on that. But I am due to go off on maternity leave, so let's see how that pans out. Training and support for PhD students. So this is an initiative. So I'm the training lead for Queen Mary's Impact team. and have put together a program of activities, including a session on research impact for PhD students, a session on an introduction to impact, and then these research impact drop-in sessions, which I've heard quite a lot about drop-in sessions over the course of the conference so far. And we're also, but we're also responsible for embedding an impact culture, raising the profile of Queen Mary's impact and impact leadership training. So these are our next steps, but I'm quite curious to find out a little bit more about what you guys think about how we can go about supporting PhD students to do things, develop skills outside of academia, develop their careers, but these are things that are not necessarily part of their PhDs, not a requirement for them to do these activities. Thank you.